Pro-Hamas lunatics raging at Biden's front door. Thousands of anti-Israel agitators chanting for jihad while wreaking havoc right in front of the White House this weekend. They set off smoke bombs, vandalized statues with anti-Semitic graffiti, and pelted a park ranger during the chaos. One sick individual was holding up a bloodied face mask of Joe Biden. The Jewish hatred playing out on the same day that Israeli defense forces heroically rescued 4 Israeli hostages who had been in Hamas captivity since October 7. Senator Tom Cotton is calling on the Biden DOJ to investigate the pro-terror protests.
You had anti-American, pro-Hamas lunatics defacing and desecrating the statues of our great veterans, which is a plain violation of federal law. But Joe Biden's government allowed it to happen, and I bet we're not going to see any arrests or prosecutions for violating that law.
You know, Dana, I'll start with you. What Senator Cotton's talking about is the DOJ starting an investigation against people who are pro-terror, pro-Hamas, one actually wearing a Hamas headband, carrying around a bloody face mask of Joe Biden. Why wouldn't the DOJ be involved in this kind of thing, a death to America?
Well, you can imagine that if it were somewhere else with a different type of people, that it would be, and it should have been, right? Mm-hmm. I think that people are having some 2020 deja vu. So there's only 71 park police officers covering a 9,000-person protest, and they're not allowed to wear riot gear. And we see it right there on tape. The police officer there, they're throwing things at him, they're assaulting him, and no one says anything. Not a single person gets arrested. You basically have people waving terror flags, also wearing masks. You're not allowed to do that in the District of Columbia. Nobody does anything. The prosecutor, I can't remember that guy's name, but I told you to remember it, and I can't remember it, but the prosecutor there, similar to like Alvin Bragg, right? They're not prosecuting the crimes that are happening right there. So there's this appalling double standard on basic questions of law and order, and I think that's why you have a situation where people are very frustrated. I couldn't believe it when Charles Cook from National Review, he said that he went through all the different websites, news websites. They could not find any of this news anywhere except for a local NBC affiliate. I just having worked at the White House, if something like this happens outside, one little thing, it's on the news. Why not this? And so the double standard makes my voice raise 2 octaves, which is not attractive, but is partly why I feel that people are pretty sick and disgusted with this, and I think it's a sign of things to come. They can get away with this. What do you think they can get away with in Chicago?
Oh, and in addition, I mean, they were saying Biden should be arrested. We've got the guillotine. You know, Richard, these are people who are calling for a ceasefire and peace, and yet they're, you know, supporting Hamas with a headband and all the other things that they're doing, defacing statues connected to a Revolutionary War. What helped the U.S., this guy apparently helped the U.S. defeat the Brits in 1781. I mean, where did they get off doing that?
I mean, it's very sad. I mean, I think there's a bright, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I think there's a clear bright line between peaceful protesting and, you know, throwing things at park rangers and defacing property, period. And like, once again, it's unclear. We don't know if the Justice Department is involved because there could be investigations into this, and we just don't know that yet. And so I think that's one thing that we got to point out. I also think while this was happening, right, while this protest was happening, we do also know that on the ground in Israel, Benny Gantz resigned from the war cabinet, which sort of makes the situation in Israel a little bit more tenuous for Bibi Netanyahu. And the reason why Benny Gantz resigned was because he was waiting on Netanyahu to come up with a post-war plan for the Gaza, and Netanyahu has not come up with that plan, which makes the situation even more tenuous as we try to figure out how do we come to some sort of peaceful solution to
Richard,
what's happening there.
Any of those protesters know who Benny Gantz is?
Well, that's part of the, I will argue that's part of the problem, right? Because when we're talking about this conflict, I want this conflict to come to an end. I want the hostages to be sent home. I want the killing to stop in the Gaza. I think both those things can be true. But for that to happen, it's less about what's happening here in the United States, and it's more about what's happening with the Israeli government and Bibi Netanyahu.
That
All
wasn't
right,
the
Greg,
story, though.
Greg,
The story was the hostages getting rescued. Nobody cares about Gantz. The hostages got rescued. That's the story you came out with?
No,
anyway.
all
right, but let me ask you the question. It's been 8
They're
months.
absolutely connected.
They're not connected.
They
8 months. That's the end of that. 8 months. They captured 7 hostages in 8 months. There are 116 remaining. They think 41 are dead. That means there are 75 alive that we believe. Shouldn't Israel have the right to do what they need to get those human beings back in a war that Hamas started, and they're still holding our hostages, the Israeli hostages?
I mean, from my perspective, there's only one acceptable fact. Once October 7th happened, it's none of your business. We can all agree that payback is a bitch, but you don't create the terms for the payback. Israel does. Talked about it before. You can do all these platitudes about never again and we stand with Israel. But if you do that in good times, you're worthless. It only matters in the bad times, and you have those outraged saying, but they killed 200 to rescue 4. Well, have you ever come up with the ideal number for that? Have you ever done the mathematics for this? Did you express outrage of when Hamas killed over 1,000 people? And now you know that everything that you were told about Hamas is true, keeping hostages in highly populated areas, and yet you still don't care? That tells you something about the protests. These are not organic. These are professionals. They are paid for. And I find it interesting that no one, according to our president, is above the law unless you're a member of the left. Somehow vandalism becomes an expression of protest and speech. It's weird. If you're woke, words can be viewed as violence. But then violence and destruction can be defined as speech. You don't get arrested. Why is one rage permitted, and yet any kind of mild protest isn't? I mean, think about the Covington kids. Go back. One kid, all over the place. Like you said, nothing. You couldn't find it anywhere. Why do they do that? What's going on? It's because one is sanctioned and one isn't.
All right, Jesse, you know, the operation carried out makes it clear, and we found out from one of the hostages, the female on the motorcycle, she said that she was dressed in Palestinian garb so that they could move her from one house to another, which is so right out of Fauda if you haven't watched it. But how does this rescue operation, and should it in any way impact the ceasefire discussions?
No, you're going to continue to have these raids to extract these hostages while you negotiate, just dual track it. But I'm glad you brought up the history earlier, Judge, because this statue that was desecrated was of General Rochambeau. The French sent him here during the Revolutionary War, and he was commanding about 7,000 French expeditionary forces. He joins forces with Washington, and they go in and they lay siege to Yorktown. They win the Battle of Chesapeake, and then he joins forces with Lafayette, and they force the surrender of Cornwallis. This man is a hero. The French sent the statue in, I guess, Teddy Roosevelt's administration. We unveil it in Lafayette Park. And Joe Biden is there in France while this statue is being desecrated. They don't arrest a single person.
And also, Jesse, he invented paper, rock, scissors.
But what does it tell you about a country that doesn't protect the crown jewels of its cultural and military history?
Right.
What does it say? If you allow a statue to be defiled, it means you probably don't cherish the spirit of the country like you say you do. Joe Biden is running this campaign on defending democracy. Without Rochambeau and Lafayette defending democracy, we wouldn't have a country.
That's right. And,
Just
you know,
so we're clear,
the interesting thing about this is that these are rebels who simply are creating anarchy. They don't know what they're doing. They're just haters. But in any event, coming up, James Carville has some serious buyer's remorse about Joe Biden.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.